Okay, so I'm going to use a real estate transaction as a idea of what your job is and what your facilitation is. So these blue guys right here, these are the realtors. So this is me, or this is the seller's broker, and this is the buyer's broker right here. So we go see the seller's house. So this is the seller. We go see their house, and the buyer loves it. Buyer communicates to realtor, I want this house, let's make an offer. I write up that offer. I then send this offer over to this broker. This broker sends and translate the offer to the seller. Seller then responds, and this can happen multiple times, encounters, and then information is then relayed. So they accept the offer, boom, communication, okay, boom. We now have a contract. Yay! All right. So now what? Right? We have an agreed upon contract, now what? Well, we take this contract and this realtor here will then distribute this contract to this person. This is a transaction coordinator, or if they don't have one, whatever. And this realtor here will also take this contract for this person to start coordinating things. Then this contract is then communicated to the title company. And the title company holds it so they can get title information. And this is the point of contact here. And this person right here, good. This person right here is then going to communicate that to their title officers, where they are going to pull up information on the property, and they are going to then collect this person's information. So this person needs to then pass their information to the title officer so that they can verify who they are. Okay, from there, that point, upon an agreed contract right here, the buyer is going to want to inspect the property, and they also need to get a loan. So this contract is then passed to this loan officer, who then passes it to their loan processor, who then passes it to a underwriter to determine the risk of the loan. Okay? And this loan officer here is going to be consistently relaying information to the buyer saying, hey, I need documents. And the buyer is going to say, all right, here are those documents. And then this cycle continues. This underwriter is going to say, hey, I need these documents. This processor trying to collect all the files is going to ask this person, hey, I need you to communicate with this person to get these documents. And then, of course, that cycle continues and continues and continues until they get enough information. Then, since the buyer wants to also inspect the property, this person right here, the transaction coordinator or the realtor, whoever's ended up doing it, is going to communicate with a inspector. This is a home inspector. Here's a sewer line inspector, and there's usually another one in there. And then they're going to order it. Then these people are going to go over to the house, get their inspection reports, and they're going to send that inspection report to the transaction coordinator, and this person to the transaction coordinator, and then transaction coordinator is then going to send it to me, and I am going to send it and discuss it with the buyer. Buyer is going to say, hey, look, I want these or those repairs. So they communicate with me, hey, I need X or Y repairs in order to make this house worth it. So I communicate that to the seller's broker. Seller's broker then communicates that to the seller. And the seller that's a renegotiation of the contract right there. And then once we can come to an agreement, there to there, once we come to an agreement, everybody's yay, here is the addendum to the agreement saying, hey, these repairs are going to be fixed. Okay, so the repairs need to be done. So this broker right here communicates to the seller, hey, we need to still get these repairs completed. Here is the contractor. Contractor says, okay, I will do those repairs, and you also need to pay me. So and contractor goes back to broker and says, hey, this person needs to pay me. You need to pay this guy. And then the check is usually written out to the contractor and they get paid. Whew, this person is now done with. All right, so from there, the underwriter says, oh, I need an appraisal. I want you to get an appraisal on the house to determine the value of the home. Okay, loan officer gets appraisal ordered through this person right here. So relay communication here. This person talks to this person right here. That's the wrong color arrow, that's fine. And the appraisal goes out, they go out to the house and they determine, okay, this needs to happen, or it's worth this much. Okay, home is worth less than asking, or less than the list price. Okay, this person communicates it through the transaction coordinator. Transaction coordinator then discusses that with the broker. Broker then discusses that with the buyer, saying, hey, look, it's too high, and then also discusses it with this other broker. This other broker communicates it to that seller. Seller says, oh, crud, we have to lower the price. So they lower the price. They say, yes, I agree to lowering the price. This broker here says, hey, we're going to go ahead and lower that price. And this buyer over here says, oh, okay, that's cool, lower the price. And then, of course, there is that document created right there. Huzzah! Okay, as you can see, this is getting kind of complicated. Okay, so once these guys have done their full investigation, the title company's done their full investigation on the buyer and the seller to determine exactly who they are. At that point, they say, okay, we can close and issue title insurance. Lender, underwrite, appraisal comes in, all the agreement, all the documents are delivered over to the underwriter. Underwriter approves the loan. Buyer still wants to buy the house. Seller still wants to sell the house. At that point, you make it to closing, where everyone signs the paperwork. Now, I know this looks like a total mess, and I will tell you right now, this is even more complicated than this. So the amount of time and the amount of communication that happens between all these people, and this isn't even everyone involved, is multiplied by 10. And and the job of the brokers here is to ensure that everybody is communicating with everybody else, because the brokers are responsible for all of this happening. This broker is responsible for all this. This broker is responsible for all of this. So if these things don't happen, no one owns a home, you can't buy a home. So we are very good at ensuring that everybody's on the same page, well informed. Consistently, we're having CC'd emails of the transaction coordinator, the lender, title company, and this broker, all in one email with everybody communicating. So here's a small example of the complexities of communication and what you are going to be responsible for.